we've talked about this, and Brad, I think you know who I'm going to talk about here. Who's the guy that we're going to ask David about?
Coby Mayo, Horn.
So, Mr. Coby Mayo. David, I think you've been covering the Tides now for 11 years. That's correct?
Correct.
And can you just talk about then on this point? And I think, Brad, you might be happy you can have a follow-up after this. But 11 years, you've seen a lot of things. What makes Coby Mayo different in your eyes?
Well, I've covered professional baseball for 21 years now, which is unbelievable to me. And I've seen a lot of dudes. Out of all of them, there have been maybe 3 or 4 who I would stop and watch them take BP. And Coby's in that category. And obviously, he's not with the team. He's in Florida, rehabbing a broken rib, which as I said to him, I don't know how you rehab that.
Yeah, well, actually, the good news is, David, the news came out here. He's up in Aberdeen now, or making his way to the Dean.
Okay.
He's trying to come see you there in Norfolk. He's like, you know what? I got to go see David. You know, I'm missing out, specifically verbatim. I don't know where I heard that from, but can I ask you then, who are the other players that you're like, I got to watch them take BP? Do you have a couple other names potentially? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Is there one player?
I think back a few years, you might remember this guy, David Washington.
Ooh,
a big first baseman who would just hit balls over everything. He got a shot in the big leagues and struck out like 20 out of 22 ABs or something.
It was unfortunate with him, but the thing with Coby is he has that light tower power. And for people, actually, I'm going to ask the panel here, the group over here. Do you guys know what a 5 o'clock hitter is?
Is that with the shadows something? To do with the shadows?
I'm very disappointed with that answer. Go ahead.
I actually was going to say he's not just a 5 o'clock hitter.
Thank you, but now we're going to figure out. This is a good learning.
Is it the angle of the bat?
Oh my God!
No,
I thought that was a good guess.
That wasn't a bad guess.
That was a good guess, Kevin.
Thank
Wrong, wrong.
5
but good
o'clock
guess.
is.
Well, you go like. Although that's going to get you a lot of.
Okay, 5 o'clock hitter, Brad. Any thoughts?
I honestly have no idea. If I had to guess, it's just the guy that's just always going to hit in the same part of the field.
Okay, that was a closer answer, kind of. So 5 o'clock hitter, if you're thinking about a 7 p.m. game, what do you usually do before the game?
No, BP.
You take BP on the field, and guys can do things with BP where you're like, oh my goodness, that ball, no one can hit it like he can. And then at 7 p.m. when the lights come on and they're playing, he can't hit. So that's why, hence they call guys 5 o'clock hitters. You don't want to be a 5 o'clock hitter. I think what we're talking about, David, is Coby's not like that.
No.
Right? Coby is a guy that overall his numbers, if there's a guy right now that was probably on the doorstep but didn't have a spot, you could argue that Coby Mayo's bat is ready right now to be in Baltimore.
My argument, if you call it that, but my thought anyway, is not that Coby is overlooked by the prospect listings or anything. I think he's the 3rd ranked prospect in the organization. But as good as all these other guys are, to me, from the eye test, from watching it,
Eye test.
he has the high ceiling, maybe even higher than Jackson. Now, there are a lot of experts, and the Orioles paid Jackson a lot of money on the banking on the idea that he's going to be really great, and he might be. Yep. But Coby, he hits balls, and it carries over to games. He hits balls at such high angles that you think there's no way that's going to reach the track, and it lands 8 rows in, and it's uncanny. And in fact, I've seen 2 players in person. I used to cover the Cleveland organization, and the 2 people it reminds me of most are Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez.
I like those comparisons.
Yeah.
I would be okay if he turned out into either of those.
Those guys are pretty good.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. I think you know what? I like those compared. Yeah, they turned out pretty good. Jim Thome, Hall of Fame player. Manny Ramirez. I know people can talk about the whole steroid situation. He had his great moments. You can't deny that he still did what he did. Jim told me that's one thing it's like for Jim told me they say about having farm strength. Like that's like Coby
Oh
Mayo.
yeah, he's a big old farm.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that one home run he hit? Was it against like the Red Sox? The one that no one moved and it went over the scoreboard, David? It was on the road. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, that Coby hits those kinds.
He hits those kinds all the time. And I want you to know, we're going to go back. We're going to play this video. I'm pointed at Zach here. We're clipping what you just talked about. Clip, because that is a phenomenal point there. I think Coby's upside is up there. We're all such a big Coby Mayo believer. We've talked about it going around the panel.
Yep.
And I do think I'm with you as far as a guy that the Orioles cannot let go under any circumstance. Besides, obviously, I love Jackson Holiday. Coby Mayo's right there for being that guy. Untouchable. See, David and I speak the same language, guys. Speak the same language, including baseball lingo. What you got for me, David? Before I let you get out of here,
I don't want to throw that onto Coby. Like I don't want to say you got to be Jim Thome or Manny Ramirez.
Oh,
I'm just saying
not.
the balls he hits remind me of balls I've seen them hit.
Yeah. Okay, David. Yeah,
So-
he's really you're really gonna put pressure on him. I'm sure that's because David Hall said it that you got Coby Mayo shaking in his boots right now. Way to go, big guy.
Well,
Hey,
you know
man.
what you got?
Coby told me right before he got hurt, I don't care how far it goes as long as it goes over the fence.
Yeah,
And I thought that was a pretty good way of looking at it.
Damn right it is. I always like the fact that the bat shatters into a million pieces, but it's a knock. I'll take it every time, even if it's a foot. Done that actually a couple times. But
Went down a soldier, right?
yeah, wounded. See the lingo. We're gonna actually have a vocab test here on baseball terminology. I am so excited, Dave. Next time you're on, we're gonna have a baseball vocabulary with the guys. It's gonna be tough for Kevin, but you can see his knee right there. But he's a good kid. All right, last thing, then get you out of here. We appreciate it.
Rip,
What you got?
if you don't mind, let me tell you two things about Coby. That I
Please.
think they're not, it's not in the stats or any box score or anything. Just him as a person. One is when he fell into the dugout and cracked his rib a couple of weeks ago. He got the diagnosis the next day, and he was pretty unsure about how it was going to go, and he didn't want to do any interviews. But the day after that, I asked. And he's like, yeah, I kind of have an idea what's going on. So he talked to me, and he's like, I'm not too bummed out. Yeah, things were going well. I was hoping to get a shot. This will set me back a bit, but I'm not in pain. I don't think it's going to hurt. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as long as everybody thinks. So he was really optimistic, and I thought it was a good reflection on him that he was willing to talk about it so quickly before he left for rehab. The other thing is when he got here last season, I don't know if I assume you guys are aware of this, but not everybody is. I knew he was coming. I started reading about him because I always like to be educated in what I ask people. And it turns out he survived the Parkland shooting in Florida when he was in high school.
Yeah.
And I got him in an office the first day he got here. And I'm like, dude, I hate to bring this up. I don't want to bring this up. I feel like I'm obligated. Let's just get it out of the way. And he talked about that fairly openly. He went as far where he drew the line was, I asked him where were you when all of this was going on? Where were you in the school? And he's like, I don't think I want to talk about that before a game. It's a little heavy.
Yeah.
But he was very open about what the experience meant, what the survivors mean to him, how he's playing for the people who didn't survive. And he's I just find him to be real personal, a real good dude. Even recently out at BP one day, I pulled him aside and I'm like, hey man, I don't know if I made it clear last year, but I just want you to know how grateful I was for you to talk to a total stranger about something so traumatic.
Yeah.
And he's like, no worries, man. I mean, I'm glad we got it out of the way. So now we just talk baseball. So good kid.
Yeah, he is. He's the definition of a good kid. And yeah, actually, I say that with a lot of my teammates, David, of saying, "Hey, you're a good kid." For me, it's the type of endearment. But for Coby, he's a great kid, and
Yeah.
and the reason why I believe he's going to have success, and I'm glad you touched on that. It's not the intangibles that he has on the field, on what he can do. It's how he handles himself, how he conducts himself, and how he tries to always put his best foot forward. And as a guy that I've noticed and talking to, like I said, I'm not close with Coby. I've spoken with Coby, but everyone raves about him. And what you see on the field is just a part of what Coby Mayo represents. And I can't wait for him to have the opportunity to come to Baltimore. It's not a matter of if with Coby Mayo, everyone. It's just a matter of when. And people are going to see what a lot of people like you have seen on a personal level. So that will be a lot of fun when that moment comes, because it is. And he's on his way back to hopefully to Norfolk here as he starts his rehab assignment up in Aberdeen.